out the sunglasses. I look like a rap star.
Can I Kick It Podcast, episode 10, take 1. Action.
Welcome back. Happy New Year's, folks. It's been maybe, 4 weeks, August? 5? 6, let you tell
We're
it.
going to say 4.
4?
4 weeks. We're going to say 4 weeks.
I want to say this really quickly because a lot of people right now are starting their own things. They're getting more creative with quarantine going on. This podcast has been a journey. I've had to do a lot of soul searching. I'm sure I've had to do a lot of inner work to understand what I want to do and what I want to portray to the media. I don't spend a lot of time on camera, so it's been weird, but what a growing process. Anyways, I say that to say this: a lot of times on this podcast we talk about basketball, we've talked about racial issues. Sometimes we mesh them together. Sometimes we only talk about one. And that's part of it, is delivering content in a way that you want it to be delivered and keeping it as true to yourself as possible while remaining professional. So today we're talking about clout chasing, but we're going to try and mix it in with basketball. We're not going to try it. That's what we're going to do. And that's been the aim of this podcast from day one. Talking about how I metaphorically perceive or translate things through what I see in basketball and the soap opera that is the NBA, and how I relate them to things in my everyday life, which I think a lot of people do but don't talk about. They've all got a thing and they kind of live off that. Anyways, August, how you been?
I've been okay. Hold on. Let me
You're
check.
no longer not on camera. If we change that.
Yeah, give me a couple seconds. What's good?
Not much, man. How you been?
I've been all right. You?
Good, man. Good. Just working on things and working at the same time, which I'm lucky to be doing. How about you? You working?
I'm getting by.
Yeah?
It's January. January's, I would say it's a slow month for everybody.
But that's always how it is. January and February are the hardest. In Toronto, at least. I don't know about other countries or wherever. Maybe somebody in a different country is listening to this.
Yeah, it's a little different this year for obvious reasons, but January is just, it's slow.
So, clout chasing. Let's start off with the fact that James Harden got traded this week. How'd you feel about that? Do you like that move on his part? Because he obviously kind of pressed his way out of there.
He wanted out. He got out. I'm not going to act like I know exactly what was happening in that situation. I just know what we hear in the media, and based on what I hear, I don't like it.
Okay. I personally feel like he's clout chasing. I feel like Kyrie's doing some clout chasing too.
Possibly. I just feel like these might not be the case, but these guys give me the rich and entitled vibe. Kyrie had it hard coming into the league with Cleveland to begin with when he was losing.
Did he have it that hard though? You're still a marquee player. Like, somebody's gonna come play with you.
Oh, he was a marquee player.
Yeah.
But those first few years in Cleveland, he had it hard as in he was producing, but his team wasn't doing anything at that point in time.
Yeah,
And
but LeBron came to play with you.
that's what I'm getting at. LeBron came to play with him.
You can spin it any other way, but he came to play with Kyrie, no?
He came to win a championship for Cleveland first and foremost. He saw that they had that asset.
You think if Kyrie's not there, he's coming back?
Yeah, of course.
I doubt it. Anyways, go on.
He's an Ohio kid, right?
Yeah, cool. He left the first time, but yeah, whatever.
No, but he didn't like what was going on in Miami. That's what it came down to. He wasn't.
What was going on in Miami?
Well, what he was used to is what LeBron wants, LeBron gets. When he went to go play for Pat Riley, it didn't work out that way. He learned early when he said, "Well, I want you to come coach the team." He's like, "No, Eric Spoelstra will be coaching this team."
But he didn't like that.
He didn't like that, but they went with it, and they won championships.
We should be careful because LeBron has a large following, and we do this often.
Oh, we go super ham on LeBron?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
James Harden.
James Harden. James Harden gets up and decides that he gets what he wants, basically, because that was his first choice was Brooklyn. Brooklyn gives up a bag of shit. Jared Allen, draft picks for like the next 2 years. They get rid of Karis LeVert, which if I was them, I would have been holding on to with. I would have held on until the Raptors got him. And then, which we still could, because I think he's on his last year and he's in Indiana.
Do you think Brooklyn goes to the finals?
I mean, if you look at the East, I don't see Philly beating them.
Is that the answer?
I don't see. Yes, I see them going to the finals. Yes,
Do you see them winning the chip?
that depends on a lot. The Kyrie seems to be a little bit unfocused, right, and whichever. But besides the point,
Did you say a little?
yeah,
You do realize we haven't seen him in 2 weeks, right?
and the official release was he's off the grid.
We're supposed to see him later tonight, which by the time you watch this podcast would have been this past weekend.
Yes, but here's the thing: Kyrie comes from a certain class of player that's used to not worrying about the regular season, especially when they know they're going to the postseason.
Yeah.
Like they use the regular season.
He can thank LeBron for that because
I see. I didn't want to say the name. You see, you did it.
No.
Here we go.
Yeah, but I'll call a spade a spade. LeBron pioneered that. We changed the Wi-Fi password out here or something.
Maybe. Are you trying to watch a football game?
No, I'm trying to. Anyway, I was trying to get some information up, but it's all good.
The league has now become a thing where if you have a chip, then you get to be in the conversation of the greatest. It doesn't really necessarily mean like for the guys like J Kidd who only have one, for the guys like that like Charles Barkley who have none that are in their Hall of Fame.
You said J Kidd has one?
J Kidd has one championship,
Where?
Dallas,
What year?
when they beat Braun. J Kidd,
He was on that team?
I believe so. Google. I'll Google on my
Well,
smartphone.
I was trying to get information up, but there's no Wi-Fi.
It's okay. I have data. Even though Virgin Mobile's data is sus as fuck, I said it. I have it. So
J Kidd was on that team.
J.
Jason
Kidd.
Terry was on that team. I know that.
It's 2016.
No, that was 2010. 2011.
J Kidd Championship, which it trends. He won it in 2011. You're just a little bit off.
I said 2011.
Yeah.
So he did win in 2011?
Yes,
So he was
apparently.
on that team?
At long last, J Kidd finally has his championship ring.
there it is.
World champion J Kidd holds up his ring during Wednesday's ceremony. And
Okay.
what team was he on?
Dallas Mavericks. That was
that
the
when-
year,
is
that
that
was
when
the
they
year
beat-
that they won it against LeBron.
Yeah, there you
'Cause
go.
LeBron's decision was the summer of 2010.
Yep.
And then it was the 2010-2011 season.
So, right, all I'm saying is that these guys no longer really garner the respect they deserve. J Kidd is an all-time point guard, like one of the all-time greats. Wasn't a great shooter when he came in, but in terms of assists, one of the all-time greatest passers in league history. Steve Nash has no championships, right? Are we going to deny his legacy, right? But we're going to give certain players right now a legacy when they've teamed up with certain players and blah blah blah.
Maybe there is. You're giving legs to what you said with regards to clout.
Wait, let me give you why it's clout chasing, because, like you were saying, I'm giving legs to it. The easiest way for you to get in the conversation of the most popular, the greatest of all times, the GOATs, is to have championship rings on your fingers. Not how you got them, but how many. Especially when you're a star player, because for players like Robert Horry, Danny Green, who has 3, by the way, with 3 different teams, right? Who else has a couple? Patrick McCaw has like 2 with 2 different teams and so on and so
Patrick
forth.
Carr has 4 rings.
There you go, right? These guys are not going to get that respect
Can't even
because
say
they're
that
not.
with a straight face.
They're not the best players on every team. When you're the best player on every team, all anybody's asking, people are already breaking down your numbers and looking at so on and so forth. So to get that attention,
Yeah.
to
Try
get
not to pound
that
the
clout,
table.
sorry, to
No,
get
it's all
that
good.
attention, to get that clout,
Yeah.
You're trying to press the fact that you're a championship team, which has turned the beauty of a championship from working 5 years, 10 years, 13 years like Golden State. They didn't necessarily get anybody before they won those first two. When they got the third one, they had KD, right?
No, that was the second one.
The second one, they have two with KD, right? When they won the first one, though, Steph Curry was on his last ankles. Nobody gave a shit.
They got lucky.
Right? And he turned out to be, then they got Clay. Then they got really good. Yeah. Then Draymond turned out. They developed him.
Oh, no, they had Clay for the first one. But they got lucky because by the time they got to the finals, Kevin Love was already out because Kelly Olynyk threw out Kevin Love's shoulder.
Which is a whole nother thing.
And then, what's his name? Kyrie, his knee was done after game 1 of the finals.
Yeah, so they came back in game 7. On the 3-1 or on the first one? That's the next one.
So the very first one, LeBron went up against them. They lost 4 games to 2.
We're doing the LeBron thing again. How do we explain this?
How do I talk about Golden State okay.
Always, but that's besides the point. The point is that I'm making right now is that with James Harden, with the decision that he's made, this is not just a decision to gain a championship or to win and compete. This is a decision to impress the masses and say that, and be able to say that he has a ring on his finger. It doesn't matter that he has 2 of the top 10 players on his team.
Okay, so before I forget,
1 of the top 5.
Historically, chips get attached to people's legacy, right? But then you just mentioned Steve Nash. You mentioned Steve Nash doesn't have any chips, but his legacy is cemented. It's not because he's got chips. It's because he's sitting on back-to-back MVP awards, right? Yes. He's also got a scapegoat. The series against Los Angeles. Back then, everybody thought Mike D'Antoni was brilliant for his 7 seconds or less offense, but it was the series against Los Angeles. No, San Antonio. The series
they lost one to Kobe, and then they lost one to San Antonio. And both of those just compounded.
The series against San Antonio
and Sacramento, I think they lost.
The series against San Antonio is a scapegoat because it was, if I'm not mistaken, Game 6. Nash was dribbling the ball up court with like 10 seconds left in the game, and I forgot who it was that body checked him out of bounds.
It might have been Tim Duncan or Robert Horry.
It was somebody that body checked him out of bounds.
It was a power forward, I think.
And as a result, what happened was his whole bench left the bench
and
to go check him.
Yeah.
And they all got suspended for the next game.
Didn't some of the Spurs get suspended too?
I forgot. I don't know if it was the Spurs or the Lakers. It was one of those teams. But the other team, there might have been one player suspended, and it was the 12th guy on the bench. Whereas they lost 3 starters, and they lost a lot for the next game where they got eliminated because they lost pretty much their starting lineup. Yep. Whenever somebody says Steve Nash didn't win a championship, it's one of the first things I think of. I don't know about yourself personally, and I've spoken to a few other people, and that's something that they refer to also.
Yeah, but big man like me and you know that. But which kids do you see talking about Steve Nash?
True. But now let's bring that to James Harden. What people are going to say with James Harden is the reason why he's not in the championship conversation. He's got, is it 1 MVP?
He might have 2.
I think he might have 2.
At least one. At least one. He got robbed for 1 too, so.
Yeah.
He has like a couple scoring titles, right?
But he's got at least 1 MVP. He's got scoring titles. Probably pick up a actually no, he wouldn't pick up a scoring title this year sharing the court with KD. It's not happening. So when I say clout chasing has legs, what I was bringing up is that his legacy is already cemented. He's going to be one of the greatest players this game has ever seen.
James Harden.
Yes. When it's all said and done.
Okay.
Yeah. So for him to make this move to Brooklyn, to say that he's ring chasing for the benefit of his legacy is already cemented whether or not he gets a ring.
Okay, but where does that...
in Brooklyn is not going to make people go, oh, he's one of the greats.
Where does that culture come from? What is it? Because I am a proponent of, I don't know if that's the right word, right? But I am a supporter, let's say, of...
That was the right word.
Cool. Of we as an older, like me and you are, we're not kids. We're not fucking 25, just coming off of hoop dreams and so on and so forth and idols and whatnot, right? We're here as people that have seen that history, and I honestly think that we're highly responsible for it. Like, even though we hate, like, you hate clout chasing, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? I think we're responsible for it. I think the things that we entertain, right? Like, it was entertaining to watch KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce be on the same team, but we looked at it as entertainment, and the generation under us looked at it as a lifestyle. Right? But the generation under us is LeBron. Not even it's just the other half of our generation, because we're part of the same generation, right? 85 to 95. Like,
Yeah.
those guys looked at it as a lifestyle. Like, we were the ones that said, Jordan, the reason that your legacy is so big is because of your championships, when it was so much more. We dumbed it down to championship to make it simple to explain. And now LeBron believes that the only way he can ever catch that ghost is to have 6 championships. It doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter the path he takes. As long as he gets 6, he'll be considered on the same par.
He's sorely mistaken, but that's
He's
another
sorely
topic.
mistaken, but is he though, in the world that we live in right now? You and I won't feel that way, but with the kids that grew up with LeBron, like we grew up with Jordan, will they feel like the fact that he wins 6 chips? If he does, anyhow he does it, will they think that he's one of the greatest?
They might, but at the end of the day, he wins 6, right? And it will take him double-digit attempts to get it, whereas Jordan went 6 times and he took 6 down.
Yeah, I know. That's very
6-0
true.
in the finals.
That's very true. But then they'll argue.
I'm just dumbing it down.
I know I'm dumbing it,
Then
but
they're gonna
we've
argue
always
he
dumbed
went
it
up
down.
Yeah. Then
We've
he-
always
they're
dumbed
gonna
it
argue
down.
that he went up against plumbers and bus drivers.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're gonna say.
Outta here. And what I'm gonna turn to him and say is, "Fuck out of here."
Well, I mean, we got to do a better job of explaining it than that, right? Like, I think the way that I would go about it is, in this era right now, things are much faster. Players have much more power. They're able to team up. Like, we watched James Harden and Kevin Durant and Kyrie do LeBron, Dwayne Wade, LeBron, Kyrie, LeBron, AD. Kawhi and Paul George, right? Kawhi probably would have won again if he had stayed here last year. There's a good chance he might have beat that Lakers team, and it would have been a better series to watch, right? Mm-hmm. But when things happen, what we tend to do, especially when they happen the first time, is we tend to justify it. We justified Paul Pierce and KG teaming up and so on and so forth, while certain people said that shit is unfair. We justified, the Jordan rules, or, the fact that Jordan didn't get calls. Like, the NBA is kind of a mess right now because the culture that they promote is more indicative to how can we get more attention than how can we purify the competition. Do you think forcing a trade is clout? Like, you clout chasing when you force a trade?
I don't. So your definition of clout might be different. From
Well,
mine.
what is your
Clout,
definition
to
of
me,
clout?
To dumb it down, it's doing stuff for attention to get eyeballs. I don't think AD is on some, I want eyeballs, so get me to Los Angeles.
Okay, wouldn't you say though that when you're showing up to practice three months late, or 2 months late, 3 weeks late, whatever it might have been, when you got all these antics in the media, when you answer media questions like this thing right here there's something wrong with it and it can't be fixed, do you not think you're looking for attention? You're looking for attention from other fucking, you want to trade, you're asking for it.
No. When we're talking about attention, what I'm talking about is like attention whores. People want the attention. They want the eyeballs on them. They want to be the topic of conversation. That's what clout is to me. I have no eyeballs on me. I want these eyeballs on me. I want to be the topic of conversation. So let me have these antics for that purpose. Oh, look, now all the eyeballs are on me. I'm center stage. I'm the center of attention. I got all that clout. That's what clout is to me, right? It's intentional for that purpose. When you're just, if you're some spoiled kid, I'm not saying that's the case for any of these people, but if you're spoiled or if you just have bad habits and you do stuff and it garners attention as a result, that's not clout chasing to me. That's the media does what they do, which is, oh shoot, this guy's fucking up. That's news. Let's put it on camera, right?
I don't know, man. I feel like you know what, like, especially at that level, you know what news is. Like with Kyrie, like I think Kyrie's making a point. Kyrie's letting people know that the NBA, as
You think what Kyrie's doing is clout chasing?
hold on, yeah, the NBA as a industrial entity does not control him. The NBA cannot tell him when or not he's gonna play. In fact, I think what Kyrie's really saying, and this might sound crazy, but this is my hot take. Kyrie's saying that these white men that own these teams, that think they own me, can't tell me what to do. Simple.
That's simple. That's not clout chasing.
I think you just because it's not, he's clout chasing. He's just not chasing the clout that he would normally garner as a celebrity. He's looking for the attention from, I don't know, Black Lives Matter, whatever politicians he thinks he needs to impress, whatever woke people he follows on Instagram, he wants their follows. He's not like he could have done this in a much quieter way. He could have done this in a way that still allowed him to play games, but him not playing games, him taking a stance and being off the grid automatically boosts that attention. He doesn't have to do it, but it boosts that attention because of the way he's going about it. He could still accomplish the same thing, but it boosts the eyes that are on him because he's being loud about it. James Harden is the same thing. It boosts that attention. The reason we appreciate Jordan and Kobe is because when they were looking to gain to a goal, they didn't need the attention behind it. That was just their goal. I want to win. There might be some other bullshit in between, but I will never give attention to that bullshit in between the fact that I want to win. That's who I am. I want to win. Now, whether or not they're justified in chasing that clout might be a different question, but I think the fact that we all think that they're not is the reason that we look at them left. It's why we look at a Kyrie left. It's why we look at a LeBron left. That's why we don't judge Kawhi as hard. Is because when Kawhi goes about stuff, he does it in a humble manner. This is very indicative of somebody that's asking for attention, is all I'm saying. Right? I know we're running out of time and so on and so forth, but this point is detrimental and important at the same time to the black community. And as we go through more topics, all of it kind of plays a part into it. I understand that we're used to clout being a certain kind of attention, but I'm saying clout is any kind of attention where you need to do your shit in a loud way. Maybe I'll feel crazy after I watch this episode again. I want to thank you guys for joining us again. We appreciate it. It's been great kicking it with you. August, it's finally good to get you on camera. That's good, man, that the people see you. Join us next week. It may be sporadic, but we'll be here. Peace. Happy quarantine. Peace.